Good morning. This is your host, Stephen Pierce, here with Alex Fasano. This is your WICR Sports Flash news update. Now, today we have an interesting discussion, one that we haven't had in a little while now. Will the Mets make the playoffs this year?
That is a very, very, very big question, Steve. And we really have to focus on what's their upcoming schedule and what does it look like in the future as the playoff hopes. Do you think the Mets will be able to get to the October season? So let's start it off. What do you think?
Yeah, I think what they got coming up now, what the Mets have in their schedule, is mostly divisional games, stuff in the NL East. The only thing that they got a little bit differently, they have the Reds and the Yankees. So if they are able, those games are really important, so they're able to capitalize, and they're able to take most of those games away, and they still have that comfortable for the Mets is a little iffy at this point. We all know they're not so recent, but history with September. If they're able to capitalize and win the majority of those games, they can sit with that 6-game lead and feel relatively comfortable going into the playoffs.
Very true, and you look at their next couple of games. They got Miami, they got Washington, they got the Phillies, they got the Yankees. As long as they maintain their dominance over the East, they're 6 games up over Washington, 19.5 over Miami. If they can just maintain this dominance over the East and continue their winning ways, they will be good. The only other obstacles other than their division are Cincinnati and the Yankees. And the Yankees are right now in second place, a game and a half behind Toronto, while the Cincinnati Reds are in last place in the Central. So, you never know with the Mets, when they play good teams, when they play bad teams, you never know with them. But as long as they maintain their winning ways against their division rivals, they have a good shot.
Absolutely. I think that if they take those games seriously, the ones that they really need to capitalize on, that are not in the division like the Reds and the Yankees, if they take those games and they're able to come away with the victories, that's even better for them. That just keeps stacking in the win columns. Now, another thing that's kind of eating at me. Do you think that the rotation is going to be good enough to bring them all the way to the playoffs?
You know what? I think it can. We got DeGrom on the mound tonight in Miami, and he's playing great, 12-7 record. He's doing great. Harvey, they want to sit out a little bit. They're bringing up Matz, I believe, to relieve him in a couple games.
He's going to get that one rotation off,
and that's good. I like Matz. He's got a good mound presence. I think he's going to do well for us.
Yeah, he had that good Double-A start. He's rebounded well, and I think the benefit of having Harvey sit out his next start is that the first start he'll make will be against the Nationals, which is kind of what you want.
What we need.
You want to pad that lead. Absolutely, you want to pad that lead, and I think he's probably your best bet. Although Bartolo Colon has been very, very good these past two outings. He's pitched 8 full innings. He's been very dominant.
Very true.
I think if he can continue that, I don't know what happened because if you remember right after the All-Star break, he looked like he gained 10 pounds over the break. I don't know what happened, if he just was shoving donuts in his mouth, but he came off at that break and he looked terrible.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad to see that he's found his rhythm again and he can contribute a lot to this team, and especially as a veteran presence. Not that the other guys aren't, but Bartolo Colon has been around the block at this point. I think that can help them tremendously.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, the key question we have to look at is if they make it to the playoffs, the Mets, they will win the East, and right now, as it stands, the Cardinals and the Dodgers will also win their divisions.
Absolutely.
Leaving the wild card open for Pittsburgh and Chicago. Who would you want the Mets playing in the playoffs for their first game?
Oh, that is tough. Notoriously, the Cardinals just find a way every year to get into the playoffs. And not only get in, they are a team that is a team that comes together. They don't rely on the long ball. They have a good pitching staff. When Wainwright went out this year, I thought their season was over. And he had Tommy John in the beginning of the year, and I thought their season was over. And now here they are, competing.
They're the best team in baseball. One of the best teams in baseball.
And they're able to do this year in and year out because they have a full team that contributes all the way down the lineup. They don't just rely on the long ball. They play a good game of small ball. They're good at the run game. They're good at everything coming together at the right time. And maybe that's managing. Maybe that's
could be the front office. It could be behind the scenes. No one knows.
Yeah, but they have been able to do it year in, year out. And that's a team that is always scary when it comes to the playoffs. And I'm not sure that if I'm the Mets, I want to play them necessarily. You might have to at some point, depending on everyone's record when the season ends. But that would be interesting to see.
Well, you look at Pittsburgh taking the wild card spot as of right now, and they pretty much tore us up last time they played us in the series. Do you think we would be able to bounce back in the playoffs if need be? We play the Pirates.
That is another good question. And the Pirates are a team that right now they're hungry. They've been there. They've got that little taste of the playoffs,
Oh
and they
yeah.
haven't been good in how many years at this point. And they want this so bad that I think the team led by Andrew McCutchen is just going to be.
Alvarez too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't overlook all those guys, but I jumped to McCutchen in my mind. But I think that I don't know. I think if I'm the Mets, they're dangerous too, and it's not like there's a good option for the Mets to play because the Mets also have that going on right now. They do have that whole team is contributing. The whole lineup is for the most part is they're all hitting, they're all working together, and I think that that will help them tremendously. And I don't know. I give credit to the Cardinals because they've been able to do this for how many years at this point. Um, so I'm looking at them and I'm thinking of the Mets. Like if the Mets, they control themselves. They don't let the jitters of the first time for the playoffs get in their system, and they can continue to just kind of keep that lineup going. And they have that pitching that's most of the guys have been pretty dominant thus far in their
Definitely.
most recent start. So I think that all that ties together. That I think the Mets will do relatively well.
Good. Well, we're glad to hear it. Well, you heard it right here. I'm Alex Fasano.
I'm Stephen Pierce. This has been your WSCR News Flash Update. Thanks for listening.